All right, guys, welcome back to the Run It Back podcast. I am your host, Joy. Alongside with me again is my partner in crime, Wes. How you doing today, Wes? And Merry Christmas.
Hi, Joy. Hi, Run It Back Nation. Merry Christmas, Feliz Navidad, Maligayang Pasko. I'm doing very good, man. You know, it's a special day, special time. I
Mm,
think it just so happened that all the stars are aligning for us to have a mega episode on a mega day.
absolutely, absolutely, and pretty much, yeah. Today we're just gonna be covering postseason, right? Pretty much how we're gonna give a review through the season. Now, I've watched a couple seasons. I've watched since 2015, 2016 season. Wes, how many seasons have you watched so far?
This is my second full
Second.
season. So my first full season was 2019, so
Mm.
2019, 2020, and I had half of 2018. So yeah, two and a half full seasons, but in terms of full seasons, two.
All right, cool, cool, cool. So, out of the two seasons, which one did you like better
Oh, this season, no
this
doubt.
season? Okay, decent. Was like any particular reason why?
Well, because I got to see a big team look very, very mortal in Ferrari.
Right.
I got to see multiple driver changes happen really right in front of all of us,
Mm.
like Ricardo to McLaren, Sainz to Ferrari, Aston Martin getting Sebastian Vettel.
Mm.
When everyone thought that Vettel might just finish his career at Ferrari, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's see, Hamilton winning his seventh title, two other winners not named Lewis Hamilton or Sebastian Vettel or Charles Leclerc
Right.
or
Right.
Valtteri Bottas, or that for that matter.
Right.
Max Verstappen having one hell of a season, and I think really the big thing too is we got to see some questions being answered. Like for example, was George Russell all the hype? Worth all the hype?
Right.
All you needed was Sakir,
Right. Absolutely.
and he proved that he's the real deal.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I agree with a lot of the points you made. For me personally, it was just the tracks, the old tracks that we revisited this season. For me, just said it all. I remember I remember one of the commentators. I think it was Martin Brundle saying that this is why he signed up for Formula One. It's because of these tracks. Um, it's because of the tracks that we have currently right now. I mean, that we had this season. Um, of course, we couldn't travel to a lot of the Asian countries and the visit some of the Asian tracks. I would have loved to see Japan in there. Obviously, I mean, I also love Australia, but yeah, I don't know. This season pretty much had, I think, the best tracks. We got to revisit some of the legendary tracks. I would say.
Oh, absolutely. We've said in previous podcasts that some of the tracks that we've seen are tracks that we would play in the video games,
Right.
i.e., Mugello, Nurburgring, and of course there are tracks that I never heard of before, such as Portimao,
Right.
right? Um, Istanbul, I've seen in photos, I've seen in videos, but not on a live TV feed. So
Right.
that was fun, and that race itself was actually pretty remarkable as well. That was a fun race to watch.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm okay with resurfacing of any track 1 month prior to a F1 race being held. I think it brought up a really good race. It introduced some new challenges for teams.
Oh, for sure, and we got to see why someone is considered the greatest of his generation.
Absolutely.
But 2020 was a season to remember.
Mm.
2020, the year itself, not so much, but in the realm of F1, I think 2020 will go down. We can look back 10, 15, 20 years from now and be like, man, 2020 was one heck of an F1 season. And
Absolutely.
for now, I don't know if we'll see anything like it.
Absolutely. I really agree. Christian Horner at the end of the season 2 of Drive to Survive said that 2020 is set to be a very important year. Now, of course, he said that before the COVID pandemic happened, and so I mean, he was absolutely correct in many ways. And I think when you make that statement, yeah, I mean, you're bound to be correct some way because Formula One is such a fast moving entity that any kind of changes would absolutely be pivotal in a championship race.
Oh, for sure. And we saw a lot of strange things that could have altered a result. And the one event that comes to mind was Hamilton winning on three wheels at
Absolutely,
Silverstone.
absolutely,
He could have easily lost that race because of that front left tire. But
absolutely.
hopefully, because of certain issues or small little things that could have altered a race, it'll make things more interesting and I
Mm,
guess on an issue side, more tighter into future seasons.
absolutely, absolutely. And one last thing, I want to congratulate and thank Formula One for for an incredible season that they gave us. We spoke in the last podcast that we didn't even think that there was going to be a season, and midway through the season, we didn't think there was going to be a second half of the season. So we thought that there was going to be initial 8 races left, and or eight races to begin. So yeah, I thought 8 races was fine. It would be interesting to see where the championship would have stacked up, but yeah, it would have been incredible. But yeah, any last thoughts, Wes?
No,
Okay,
I still can't process a lot of the events that occurred over the 2020 season.
absolutely.
Some good, some bad, but for what it's worth, I'm ready to go into 2021,
Mm,
see how the racing would be with the small, subtle changes that Formula One's going to take, and if the behemoth that is Mercedes can continue to reign a dominance, or will it be someone's new turn to shine on the top of the Formula One hill?
absolutely, absolutely. Well said, Wes. And yeah, so let's go into the top 3 best moments of the season so far. And so pretty much we're just gonna pick, the entirety of the season. What were the best 3 moments that pretty much spoke to us, or pretty much we highlight because it was, as a fan, it was the moment that said, "Wow, this is Formula One." Let's start off with you, Wes. What's your top 3?
Uh, okay, I'm going to go bottom to top here, if that's okay with you,
Yep,
Joy.
perfectly fine.
All right, number three, Alex Albon getting his podiums.
Okay, decent.
Now you all are probably wondering, why am I talking about a driver that just got cut? Well, if you think about it, if you got a chance to figure and get to know who we are, Joy and I are both proud Southeast Asian American men. Alex Albon is a Southeast Asian British man. He's from Thailand. Both of us are under the Philippine flag, and him scoring a podium means a lot because he was the first of his background to do so. For us, that should be something that should be celebrated. It doesn't matter if it's third or second. If it was first, that would have been great, right?
Right.
But to be up there, to have the cameras on you, to have your flag shown, your culture shown on the world stage with 19 other drivers who are probably the fastest car drivers in the world as of right now.
Mm.
That means something.
That means something. Absolutely.
And I do hope personally that Albon gets back onto the grid in
Right.
future seasons. But for what it's worth, everyone knows and cannot deny that he is a good racing driver.
Absolutely. And in hindsight, Pierre Gasly couldn't score a podium in Red Bull. Although Albon had the pleasure of pretty much completing a full season, it wasn't 22 races. It was only 18 at the end. So still, I think Albon deserves a lot of credit for scoring those podiums.
Absolutely. And speaking of Gasly, that goes into number two. I'm going to keep it in house with the Honda Red Bull trend. Gasly getting his first win at Monza. Now,
Mm,
I do think that there is some screwy idea with Michael Massey's interpretation of what's valid and what isn't. And that's a conversation for another day. Maybe we could talk about that going into next season. But even though Hamilton dominated most of that race, at the end of the day, Pierre Gasly was the winner.
Mm.
And for him to get that first win on the quote unquote B team of Red Bull and Honda, it goes to show that much like his counterpart in Alex Albon, he is a great driver. He's a good driver. And he's worth getting a drive in Formula One and being considered one of the 20 fastest car drivers in the world to date.
Absolutely, absolutely, and yeah, absolutely. Like, I actually have this as one of my, of course, my top three. But yeah, Pierre Gasly winning was it was such a great redemption story. After what he's been through in Red Bull, after the team dropped him, his house was breaking into, and then you know, a lot of people stole stuff from his house a month before, I think, Monza. So yeah, pretty much Pierre Gasly reached pretty low um, in 2019, only to finally get that win, get a podium in Brazil in 2019. But yeah, this is just a great culmination, a redemption story.
Absolutely. And I'm excited to see what he does in 2021 onwards,
Right.
especially with that program, with its state of being in flux when it comes to rotating drivers. Hopefully, they straighten that out soon. But that's a conversation again for another
Right.
time.
Right.
Number one, number one, number seven. 7 world championships, Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton. He showed everyone domination, not just Christina Aguilera. And it's unheard of, right? It's unheard of.
Right.
We in our time, Joy, as sports fans, the number that we see as the pinnacle is 6,
Right.
right? So once again, we are based in the United States, so we have the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, and 6 is associated with our greats like Michael Jordan of basketball, Tom Brady of the NFL, but we don't hear 7. We don't hear anyone that is not only the best at their sport, but winning 7.
Right.
And Lewis Hamilton changed that.
Right.
He showed time and time again why he's the best driver of his generation. Shoot, I've been a fan since I started watching Formula One more seriously, and I've always known that he was one of the best in the world. And but if you asked me that if he was gonna win the most titles for any single given driver in Formula One history, I would have been like, I don't know about that. But now it's actually happened, and you know, I'm cool with it. I'm happy with it. I'm actually happy for Hamilton, not only because he's so talented, but also his story. His story is so good.
Right.
He doesn't
Absolutely.
come from a big family of financial backing. He actually had to be discovered by one of the bigger names in Formula One in McLaren to get where he was today, or
Right.
is today, I should say. And one career move that everyone thought was going to be bad for him turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to him. So it's a really, really wonderful story. A guy who was just pretty modest is now on top of the world, practically, and still is, and still can be for another few years, which is scary. He has
Right.
no signs of slowing down because the guy keeps himself in great shape. The guy is very, very personable, very, very high image, and yeah, man. I mean, watching Hamilton earn that 7th world title, especially in races where he had to really earn his wins
Right.
rather than just driving the car around for 50 plus laps in pole position. It goes to show that it's not an accident, and we should be blessed to be in such greatness.
Yeah, I completely agree, Wes. I mean, we've also done a short piece on Lewis. But yeah, 7th world title. I was waiting for this for a while. I remember when Lewis just won his fourth or his third world championship, and he was catching up to Vettel. I remember that, and I didn't think I thought that he was gonna catch up to Vettel. I thought he was gonna win his fourth, but I think that was it. Up until fourth, I thought, then the other teams would catch up. Ferrari, Red Bull, pretty much Renault's engine program was gonna catch up. And they were very close. Ferrari was probably the closest one to mounting, to staging a challenge to the Mercedes. And it's also a credit to the Mercedes team. They're so dominant. Even in in times of uncertainty. We've spoken about the Turkish Grand Prix. It was so incredible to watch Lewis kind of just calm down, even though he wasn't the fastest guy on the track. He was consistently and fast enough to pull out the win, and not only that, save his tires. We also, praise his tire saving, and pretty much like his skills on saving tires. Probably like Sergio Perez is probably the better one, but yeah, I completely agree. I think Hamilton winning his seventh should be well noted.
Absolutely. And will we get the Ocho? We just gotta wait and see. But
Right. I mean, Tom
I'm
Brady,
looking.
right? Tom Brady's one of his greatest quotes is like when they asked him, "What's your favorite championship?" He said, "The next one,
Absolutely.
the next one."
And when Lewis shows that hunger, that fire, you know that chances are it's not gonna stop anytime soon.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, you hit on a lot of points, Wes. He still looks great. He stays healthy. He doesn't look at all. He's 38, right?
No, he's I believe he's 34.
34. Oh, okay, that's not bad. But yeah, um, yeah, I was way off. But still, 34. There's still a lot of drivers that pretty much retired at this age. He still has a couple more years. It looks like, he just needs to stay sharp. But yeah, we will see. We will see. Will he be kind of like a Valentino Rossi of the grid in Formula One? We'll see. I think that'll be interesting to watch. But yeah, let's go into my top three best moments. I'm gonna do the same thing as you, Wes. I'm gonna go from from bottom to top. And so my third best moment this season is the moment that Lewis's tire deflated, pretty much, and on the very last lap. Um, this pretty much signifies what Formula One is to me. It's there's a single moment can turn the race on its head, right? My heart sank when Crofty started yelling that Hamilton's tire was deflated, but it was wrong. Like he was actually looking at Bottas's tire, which is which is bad. But still, I love Crofty. Uh, but yeah, like when it finally did happen, when Hamilton's tire, pretty much deflated. Before that, it was Sainz's tire. So it wasn't just an anomaly of like Bottas's tire goes off, and but you don't have to worry about that because Hamilton is Hamilton. Bottas usually gets the tire punctures because he usually runs over debris. But no, like when Sainz's tire deflated, I was like, okay, this could be interesting. We'll see. And then AWS shows that graphic of Hamilton's tire on like 1% left or 5% left of life, and yeah, it happens. It happened. I think I got against like around cops. I think it happened around cops where his tire deflated, but yeah, who knows? Maybe if Max didn't pit, who knows? He absolutely would have won the race if Max didn't pit and his tire didn't explode. But I think Red Bull at that very moment wanted to play it safe, kind of just bring it home. And yeah, maybe we were robbed of a great finish where they're both racing each other with deflated tires, but nevertheless, I think it was one of the best moments of the season because you know Mercedes to me at that point looked pretty bulletproof, yet you know something that they can't control, the tires. They try to do it very well. They try to control it a lot, but it's still no One team can control the tires, and it's so interesting to watch that race unfold.
Yeah, absolutely. Your brother, I remember him telling me that, oh, Red Bull's dumb for pitting at the next to the last lap. I was like, no, they're not,
No, no, they're not. Yeah,
because they're trying to cover their ass. You can't predict that. I
right,
can't predict that.
right.
No, none of those teams.
They couldn't predict that at all. Like,
Exactly.
yeah,
The computers can't predict that.
exactly.
So no, for you to go out and say that Red Bull was dumb for doing that, no, that's a dumb statement in itself. But let me calm down for a second. That was a really, really interesting moment.
All right,
Before I continue, Lewis is 35, not 34.
35.
So,
Okay.
yes, fact check on both of us.
He's getting
white
there.
and white and black flag for not getting the age right for Lewis. But yeah, it was for me the right idea for Red Bull to pit, because
absolutely.
they knew that the tires were going away. They saw Bottas and Sainz blow up.
Right.
They thought, okay, let's not let it happen to us. And then, of course, Lewis went away in a time that no one expected it would.
Right.
Unfortunately for Max, he was too far away.
He's too far away. Yep.
What, 40 seconds away?
Right.
And he was closing in. And by the time it was over, he was only like 5 seconds away.
Right.
But that's still too far when you look at race times.
Absolutely.
And for Lewis to manage that, not get out of control,
Yeah.
keep the car on the racing line, because if he puts that car off the track, it's over.
Oh, it's over. Yeah, absolutely. If he gets stuck in a gravel trap, it's over.
Or even in the grass, because
right.
he's already going pretty well by Formula One standards, pretty slow. The telemetry was showing 140 miles an hour.
Right.
I'd be scared shitless if I was driving 140 miles an hour on 3 wheels.
Absolutely. And I actually I don't know if you've heard it, Wes, but like his radio during the time of the puncture, he was super calm. Him and Peter Bonington was super calm. They weren't in any stress at all. The only time they were stressed was the checkered flag didn't actually come out on the last lap, so he thought, oh my god, it wasn't the last lap. So yeah, it was interesting. This is the most calm I've ever seen Hamilton, especially in a time where it's the most dire.
Oh, for sure. And I was alluding to that not too long ago.
Right.
But yeah, that's what the greats do. They keep cool under pressure.
Right.
They respond well.
Absolutely.
And that was pretty self-explanatory. Of course, for what it was worth, Red Bull went out and kicked ass in the second part of the Silverstone race
Right.
those weekends. But yeah, that's a pretty remarkable choice. I like that.
Cool. And yeah, so my second best moment of the season was Sakir Grand Prix. Well, the moment was pretty much Checo Perez crossing the line. Now, of course, the moment itself is pretty surreal, right? Because Perez, at this point, we don't know if he's going to get a seat at all. At this point, I thought Albon has secured the seat. I don't think at this point, like, I didn't think they were gonna worry themselves of signing anyone else. I thought that Albon did pretty well at the end of the season, but yeah, it was interesting because it was such a filled with emotion. I think it was more about what led up to that point where Sergio Perez was crossing the line, because there was someone really hungry to prove himself chasing him down, and he was very close. I think he would have passed him in a couple laps before his tires punctured. But yeah, and that's pretty much George Russell, right? This was the first time I've ever seen so many people cheer for a Mercedes driver, just on the merit of being underdogs for some reason, because of George Russell. They want George Russell to be the next guy, and they love George Russell. I want George Russell to be the next guy, and I thought, in the first lap, him kind of just going off into the distance with Bottas struggling to match his pace. That I think that was like, okay, yeah, this is George Russell's time. If he wins this, I wouldn't be surprised if Toto, reconsiders his decision. But yeah, obviously, we got robbed of the finish that we wanted, Wes. But I think to a lot of people, to still, a lot of people, to the Mexican fans out there, to Sergio Perez fans, it was such a huge sigh of relief that this guy who we think that he's gonna leave Formula One, he's gonna take a sabbatical. Maybe he doesn't even get a seat in Formula One in the future. Finally, he gets a win, right? He gets a win, something to remember him by. Not just the third place or second place podiums that he scored all over his career, but a win, and he gets to stand in the on top of the podium. But yeah,
Yeah, Sakir was that one race where your heart rate just drastically changes.
right.
And of course, I will remember that race as Russell putting in a can of whoop ass on Bottas
Right.
and everybody else.
Absolutely.
Really. And of course, that can come off depending on who you are and how your perception is, how your wiring is. As Wes is a Perez hater, or Wes likes Racing Point but doesn't like Racing Point at the same time.
Right.
And well, no, because where was Sergio Perez for like 90% of the race? And he almost what happened to him in Turkey was almost going to happen to him again in Sakir.
Mm.
Because in Turkey he was leading the race because Stroll's mechanics and his engineers and strategists messed them up. Yet while Checo was leading that Turkish Grand Prix, he let Lewis Hamilton pass him anyhow, right? And those two are supposed to be 1 and 2, depending on how you see things on tire management,
Right.
and practically just a slightly lesser version of the W11.
Right. Absolutely.
But yeah, Russell showed why, again, he could be the future of Formula One.
Right.
And the funny thing is that you and I, Joey, were having a debate amongst ourselves on whether Max or Leclerc was going to be the face of the future in Formula One. Because with me, Red Bull as my second team, I wasn't happy with a certain red driver
Right.
causing my blue driver to hit the wall. And yeah.
Mhm.
And then you thought Leclerc was going to be better. I thought Max was going to be better. And then 60 some odd laps later, it turns out we're both wrong.
Right.
There is another, and his name is George Russell from King's Land. And yeah, no, but for what it's worth, I'm not salty. I'm not a hater. I got to give the credit where it's due. Checo Perez did win the race.
Right.
It took him 10 years to get that first podium. And as a result, it led to him getting a job still in Formula One because he was having a pretty good season overall.
Right. Absolutely.
So, for what it's worth, yes, Sakir Grand Prix, I think that's a race that everyone, even though I don't have it, should consider as a moment to remember in the 2020 season.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, thank you so much for that, Wes. I think the culmination for everything that happened to Perez, and now that he has a seat, I think I'm really excited now to see what he can do in the Red Bull, into a machinery that should land him into the podium spots pretty consistently. But yeah, more on that later. But yeah, my number one moment of the season was Pierre Gasly crossing the line at Monza. Now, of course, I'm not a big Ferrari fan, but I do like AlphaTauri. I do love the Tifosi. They're so passionate about the team, and what seeing the Red Sea is incredible. But unfortunately, this year with COVID, we didn't get to see that. But nevertheless, Pierre Gasly, it was a good drive, right? Of course, he won because Lewis Hamilton made a mistake. He rarely does, so when he does, you have to capitalize on it. But to me, it was more about science. It was me because I'm a huge Carlos Sainz fan, and I'm a huge McLaren fan, and the prospect of seeing pretty much Sainz and McLaren, when McLaren returned to the top of the podium was incredible to me. I wanted to see more of that, and I think it was a great opportunity to finally witness it. Unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. Perhaps if they had maybe 3 more laps, maybe it could be possible. But yeah, I'm happy either way with Pierre Gasly. We had this incredible race where a lot of people said, if you take out the Mercedes, if you take out the Red Bulls, if you take out the Ferraris from Formula One, then you kind of have just this race, this pure race, this organic race, and that's what we got. We got this heart pounding moments where science was just catching up by like 4 or half a second every lap, and so yeah, it was incredible. It was incredible to watch. I think that is my top moment because for me as a racing fan, it was never dull. No lap for me was dull. Every moment, every lap, I was looking at the gap between Gasly and Sainz, and yeah, yeah, that's pretty much my top moment for the season.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So what was my number two is your number one.
Absolutely.
Now, let me ask you this. When we go back to Monza in 2021, you think there will be little white and blue islands surrounding the Red Sea?
Ooh, oh, I would love to see it. I would love to see it. I do think there will be like small amounts of people probably scattered. There won't be islands, but it's pretty much just like individual members of the Tifosi that cheer for AlphaTauri. But yeah, it's incredible, right? Like AlphaTauri, Toro Rosso, their only 2 wins have been in Monza. The other Italian team, the small Italian team, wins in Monza.
Yeah, no, it's remarkable to technically win at your home race,
Hmm.
even though it's a road game, if you will,
Yeah, right, absolutely.
because the crowd in Monza is mostly Ferrari. Now, I believe at Mugello, no, Imola would have been an AlphaTauri
It would have
race.
been yes.
So that would have been fun to see if there were crowds, right? It would be like a soccer match. Ferraris are the away team, and then in Monza, AlphaTauri is the away team.
Right.
But yeah, no. For what it's worth, Gasly winning with AlphaTauri really, really put meaning in not only his career but also Red Bull's career.
Right.
Now, whether that's good or bad, that you all draw up your own conclusions about that.
Right.
But yeah, no, and I expect a lot from Pierre Gasly next season because
He's
I'm
up for it.
gonna back my guy Sonoda
Me too.
for next season as well.
Well, we'll
So,
see. We'll see. I like both of them.
I do too. Don't
yeah.
get me wrong.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't like Gasly anymore because Tsunoda's there, but he shouldn't take Tsunoda lightly.
Right.
And if I'm Tsunoda, I would go full on Tsunoda zone.
I'm just excited to see a Japanese driver back on the grid. As there's been so many Japanese drivers in Formula One, I believe there's been 16 or 20 Japanese drivers that represented in Formula One. None of them have done very well. There have been some, uh, podiums here and there with Kamui Kobayashi, but pretty much we're looking for that consistency, right? We want a superstar from Japan to kind of just represent Asia.
Well, right. Depending on what series you watch the most,
Right.
Kobayashi and Nakajima are legends, depending on what you watch.
Hmm.
Maybe not in Formula One, but if you are a Toyota guy or gal or
Right.
person, you like Kamui and Kazuki. But Sonoda, I think, will do great.
Yeah, I think so
Um,
too.
and Joy, I'm gonna say it for the both of us, for Yuki Tsunoda. Tsunoda-san, do it for the H. Do it for the H.
Absolutely.
Sincerely, two proud Honda owners here in America.
Absolutely. And yeah, we still don't even know what Red Bull's plan is for a long-term future after Honda, but yeah, hopefully I'm pretty sure he will make Honda very proud. I think this is year to do so, his rookie season. If he outscores Gasly, that would be incredible, incredible achievement. And I would say you would probably question if Perez will be there the year after, if Sonoda does so well, or if Gasly does well. But yeah, any more thoughts, Wes?
I'm good there. I think this was a really good back and forth on
Yeah.
what our moments are for the season. Of course, it's very subjective.
Mm.
We would like to hear what y'all's best moments were for the 2020 season. I know, that we know
All right.
that 2020 was one hell of a season, and I'm already counting the days to 2021. I don't know
All right.
about you all.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Come join us in our discussion and post your top three best moments. I'm pretty sure you're gonna find a top three best moments that I didn't think of. So yeah, definitely. So
We, for that, rather.
we right. So so yeah, let's move on, Wes. This is gonna be super early, right? We're just like what 2 weeks off of the last race of F1 in Abu Dhabi, and now we're gonna make our very early next season predictions 2021. All right, Wes. Constructors, give it to me.
I'm gonna go with Das Auto Silber,
Okay.
or black. I don't
So
know how to say black in German.
eighth world championship, eighth constructor.
Is that my eighth world championship? Yes. Yes, Lewis, that is your eighth.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, I want Lewis and Mercedes to bring it home. It's their title to lose.
Right, absolutely.
Seriously speaking, no more joking around, no more impersonations
Hmm.
on that regard. But yes, it's their title to lose. But at the same time, with the regulations not changing too much going into 2021, except the floor design,
Right.
really for the most part, it's practically the same. I don't see too much being a problem for Lewis
Right.
or even Valtteri for that matter. And also, Mercedes has been already working on the car within this past season.
Right, absolutely.
So I can't see an area, at least as of right now, where Mercedes is going to struggle, where they're going to get their asses kicked week in and week out by anybody else.
Right.
Lewis especially.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I should agree with you here, Wes, for the constructors. Um, recently, you know, Mercedes was asked how do they feel about the 2022 regulations, and pretty much they said, they believe that the 2022 regulations are actually for them, which is kind of scary. Coming from the eight-time world champions, they're pretty confident that the 2022 regulations are gonna benefit them, which is scary. But with that much confidence, I think I should be picking Mercedes to win in 2021. However, I think for some reason I have this sinking feeling that the weakest link of that Mercedes team is Valtteri Bottas. I think there's something there that is kind of bothering him. He's not been performing very consistently. I feel like Max has him drained mentally. He already has him in his back pocket. And pretty much if Sergio can outscore Valtteri, my goodness. I mean, this is going to be a very close race for the Constructors' Championship. So I think, if everything goes well, if Perez does adjust to the car, to the Red Bull very well, This is going to be a very scary pairing, one that can really force Mercedes to make tough decisions during the race for strategy. And so I'm picking Red Bull. I think Red Bull has a much stronger pairing. I don't know. I think I just lost faith with Bottas 2.0 or 3.0. He looked like a beaten man at the end of the season. Perhaps he needs a break, a big break. But yeah, I only say this because it seems as though Max pretty much has his. He can pretty much ignore Bottas. He's really just focused on Lewis. And if there are moments in the season where Bottas just can't get past Lewis, or just can't get past Max or Sergio, then it's gonna be a Mercedes, Red Bull, Red Bull. And if that trend continues, I think yes, there's a very possible chance that Red Bull may take the constructors. A fitting end for Honda's, the last year for Honda's partnership with Red Bull. Getting the constructors. I think this will be a huge accomplishment for Honda program. But yeah, I think, for me, I think it's going to be Red Bull that win the constructors.
That's fair. I mean, Red Bull had one hell of a season
right
in 2020. Signs would point to them being better in 2021.
Right.
And we'll see.
Right.
Especially, I do think on paper, you're right, that Red Bull have the better pairing than Mercedes at the moment. But let's not go into 2021 thinking that Valtteri Bottas just sucks. That's far from the truth.
Yeah, no. I don't think Valtteri Bottas sucks. But I do think that Max and Lewis has his number, and
Lewis has been having his number since he got there.
Absolutely, and that's what I think. I think it should just be Lewis that has his number. It shouldn't be Max because Max is on a different team. But yeah, I think for some reason I don't know, Wes. You tell me. Maybe I just don't trust Bottas anymore after what I've seen in the latter half of the season.
Hey, I love you, man, but I think that really is the case.
Okay.
Because don't forget, in 2018 and I believe 17, Lewis basically beat Ferrari by himself.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm saying. And
so
right.
So Lewis can. I know I said no more impersonations, and this one's gonna be bad. So Run It Back Nation, you can hate on me. I'll stop if you all want me to stop. But I'm sure when he's not on the cameras, he tells his team, "I don't need Valtteri. Valtteri needs me."
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's besides the point.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, don't forget that Lewis has beaten teams that were technically more macho than Red Bull by himself. So
exactly. Yeah. You brought up a good point, Wes. There was times where Valtteri had struggled to even score more points than Kimi Räikkönen in the Ferrari. So I don't know. I think hopefully Sergio can be a little bit more consistent. He'll probably be fourth, and whenever Bottas makes some mistakes, then that's a double podium for Red Bull. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'm saying. I will say though, I made this pre-season prediction this season for 2020 that the biggest headlines for Red Bull is not gonna be. I never would have thought that it was gonna be Red Bull, isn't satisfied with Alex Albon. I didn't think that was gonna be the headline. I made a prediction before the season even started, saying that it's gonna be Red Bull and Honda, that their relationship deteriorates because Red Bull was gonna be pretty much the second best car on the grid, and they're relying on Honda to produce these incredible engines that can challenge Mercedes, but obviously, that's not going to happen. Honda need more time. Mercedes has been at the hybrid unit for 8 years now. They've probably been developing for 10 years, but that's the thing. I thought that it was going to be Red Bull putting a lot of pressure again on the engine manufacturer, but I was mistaken. And hopefully, yeah, I think Honda should get a lot of gain in their development. Hopefully, they can challenge Mercedes a lot more this season for wins.
Well, I would also say from a Formula One business perspective that Honda deserves more time
Right, absolutely.
because if you look at what they did with McLaren,
Right.
this is night and day.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
So I don't see a situation where that relationship would deteriorate, but I could see Honda opening a can of whoop ass and maybe not passing Mercedes, but
Right.
opening the gap, lengthening the gap from everybody else,
Yeah.
including Ferrari.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that great point, Wes. And yeah, pretty much that's all the thoughts that I had. Was there any more that you need to?
No, let's keep on driving.
All right, cool. Let's keep on driving to the drivers championship. Our predictions for the drivers championship. Wes, who is your
XNDA.
drivers?
XNDA.
Okay, XNDA. Not
Yeah.
even Lewis, just XNDA.
Yeah, XNDA.
XNDA.
Okay, no more. Okay, I'll stop. Yes,
He's got
Lewis.
he's gonna bring a new album after the season for sure. If
Hey,
he,
I've had a shower thought that XNDA is gonna drop like an album that's gonna be, you know, top 100 worldwide, #1 in Europe and #1 in the UK,
oh, absolutely.
and then later in his career he's gonna drop a super hard EP with Drake and
Right.
call it Bono Lane Mixtape. And then everyone's gonna be like, "Why the hell is it called Bono Lane Mixtape?"
Right, exactly. Only for the fans. Only for the fans will they
No,
understand.
for everybody. Everybody's
Right.
got to figure that out. Because, I mean, if you're a Drake fan, you would have an idea of what Dark Lane was, and Dark Lane demo tape. So why not Bono Pit Lane Mixtape or whatever?
Bono needs to make an appearance in one of the songs. Just
He'll
talking
be a sample. His radio call will be
This is
one of
the
his radio
radio
calls will
calls.
be a sample on the song. But okay, all jokes aside, yes, I think Lewis Hamilton is going to get his 8th world championship, thus making him the winningest driver in Formula One history. I can't, like I said earlier in the podcast, I can't see him slowing down.
Right.
Not even when the newer, smaller car comes in. I can't see it. I'm not saying that he could win 9 or 10. It's a possibility, but I can't say that for sure.
Right.
I'm not a fortune teller, but I can say that 8 looks really, really realistic.
Absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree, Wes. Quick question though. How much do you think over 105 or over 110 this season, this upcoming season, for wins?
Wins.
'Cause-
I'll go ambitious here. I'll go 110.
110. Okay, wow. Okay, so he's gonna dominate. He's gonna pretty much win. I think he's gonna win 9 out of 10, or 10 races.
I mean, I would
Or over 10. Over 10.
if it were me, I wouldn't be happy with losing Monza. I wouldn't be happy with
Oh yeah, absolutely.
the other races with penalty slip ups. I also wouldn't be happy with George dominating in my car, especially when the settings were still mostly mine.
Yeah, pretty much. And so yeah, I actually agree with you, Wes, to the point where I will name Lewis Hamilton as my champion for the 2021 season. I think I brought up, I think in the last podcast that we did, that Red Bull pretty much said that we could beat Mercedes. Red Bull said we could beat Mercedes. We could beat Valtteri Bottas. It's Lewis Hamilton that we can't beat. Because Lewis Hamilton somehow finds a way to just win and like pretty much be out of this world. He's just gonna sail off into the distance because he gets an amazing start, and then all that that's all he needs to do is just get an amazing start, and he's off to the distance, and he doesn't see Max, he doesn't see Bottas anymore for the rest of for the rest of the race. But yeah, I think Lewis. There, I mean, I would say there's like an 85% chance, 85 at best, or maybe even 90, that he's gonna win the 2021 season. Um, he's just that dominant. Maybe even the ninth or 10th. I don't want to say that he's gonna win the ninth or 10th because then that's the major regulations we have to see first. But I'm super excited that he feels healthy. He feels better. He feels that he's at his prime. You said, Wes, he's at 35, which is great. I love watching Mercedes win. There's not a lot of people that do, but I love it because they're a team that I would want to be in if I was a Formula One driver. I wouldn't want to be in a team that's dysfunctional, that throws shade every once in a while, that calls you out whenever you make a mistake if you're an engineer. I never want to be in a team like that. I want to be in a team where pretty much everything is so uniform, everything is so precise, what's expected of you. There's nothing that changes, and they only expect the best out of you. And pretty much, it's very German, in a way. Like pretty much the national German team for soccer or football. They're very uniform, they're very precise, and they're very meticulous on the very little things. And that's what I love, I think. I would rather be a driver for Mercedes than anything else.
Oh, absolutely. They're literally the Diamannschaft. And yeah, that's what the German soccer team calls themselves, right? Diamannschaft, the machine.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they have this "we win together, lose together" mentality, driven by each other. That's their slogan, and there's a reason for that.
Right.
I remember having a discussion with somebody that, you want to know why Mercedes always wins?
Why?
It's because, unlike some teams, they're not complacent when people already call them the best.
Absolutely, because they don't. They don't ever see themselves as the best. They have to prove it every single day.
Right, and a part of it could be mind games too. They could be just saying that, oh, Honda is better than us at this, or Ferrari is better than us at that.
Right.
But that could be just all talk for all we know.
Absolutely.
That could literally just be like, oh, we know we're better.
Yeah.
But we want them to feel we want to stroke their egos, make them feel complacent, so that way they put their guard down when we strike.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed this, Wes, but pretty much there's been a trend ever since the turbo hybrid era, is that Mercedes builds the all-around machine, right? It's good at everything that it does. Red Bull, they will build an incredible car, they just don't have an engine. And then Ferrari, they will build an incredible engine, not a great car. And this is the first season that I've ever witnessed where Mercedes seem to have a better chassis, a better car than Red Bull. And combine that with the Mercedes engine, of course, you're going to dominate.
Oh, for sure. And, me too. I enjoy watching Mercedes. It's really the only Mercedes out there that I like. Because here, I don't know about any other place, but in my experience as a driver, Mercedes drivers here, especially in Chicago, have a certain way and pretentiousness of themselves. So at one point I wanted one myself, and then I realized, maybe it's not me.
Mm.
But of course, when I turn on that TV at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, sometimes 2 o'clock in the morning,
Right.
Of course, besides the Red Bull Honda, the Aero silver and black car is the one I'm always watching.
Absolutely.
And of course, car number 44.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was a good point as well. I hope they keep the all black. They look menacing with the all black. But I'm pretty sure they're gonna go back to the silver for next season. That's just a a small prediction from my part. But yeah, any more thoughts, Wes?
Just keep on driving, man.
All right, cool. So yeah, let's move on to the last pretty much segment of our show. It's called the hot laps. This is when we pretty much introduce or reintroduce some of the F1's newest news or rumors going around. And yeah, let's start, Wes. Haas this week actually reaffirms that Haas is going to keep their driver lineup for 2021. That's Nikita Mazepin and Mick Schumacher.
Okay. Um, let's see how I can do this while keeping my cool here. Gene Haas, you are an embarrassment to Formula One. Haas Formula One team, you are now the shittiest team on the grid. I, as a fan, and I'm embarrassed, especially as an American fan. I try my best to have some kind of hope for you guys, but you all over there in Kannapolis are just a freaking dumpster fire. if you're gonna if we're gonna go out there and race as one, then do it. Then do it.
All right.
In this day and age, actually in any era, there is no space for some rich kid asshole to be groping a woman in the car,
Absolutely.
intoxicated or not.
All right.
I wish nothing but the worst for not only the Formula One team, but every other team that you have in racing.
Yeah.
You are nothing but shit.
Absolutely.
And you too, Mazepin family.
Absolutely.
You know that money's the reason why you all are there.
Yeah.
You may have some your kid might have some kind of talent, sure. But you have to be an ultimate psycho to hit someone that beat you fair and square, or almost hit someone that beat you fair and square with a sign. Punch a driver who also did better than you. And conduct yourself poorly in other spaces, particularly the internet, particularly that car ride where that Instagram video went out. My God.
All right.
And that's the problem. This is the problem with organizations, Joy. Public opinion already wants him out, right? And it's overwhelming.
Right.
But in anything where the people are not happy, guess who loses out at the end of the day? The people.
Right.
Why? Because the companies and the teams, whatever, they double down and still keep their man, even though that they know that the action is wrong.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm disgusted, man. This is ridiculous. And I like Callum Islet better than Nikita Mazepin. I think Schwartzman is better than Mazepin. And there's Schwartzman and all the other Ferrari Driver Academy guys are still in Formula 2, with the exception of Mick and Islet.
Right.
It's ridiculous. Horse crap.
Absolutely.
I don't want Haas to do well ever. Again.
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree with you, Wes. I think you said that Haas is just a complete embarrassment. I think Gene is embarrassing himself, and I have a pretty good reason why he stuck with Mazepin, right? But I think for me, it is so disappointing to see that they're still going with this guy. We did send out a lot of these messages that we race as one. We have plans to go to Dubai, Saudi Arabia that has a history for the lack of just human rights, and we have this joker on the grid now, And yeah, you said it, Wes. Money talks, right? And I think the number one reason why Gene wanted him to stay is because Gene wants out. I think he wants out of Formula One, and he sees Nikita Mazepin's father as a way out of buying the team. But what I'm also like very disappointed in is where is the FIA in all this, right? Like, I mean, come on, like Haas said that they're gonna do um, an internal, pretty much decision on what they're gonna do for Mazepin. Which, okay, I understand that, but like, it is so much more. It is so much more damaging to your reputation in racing and all your sponsorships. Right? There's a reason why there's not a lot of sponsors on that Haas car, and now you're giving them even more reason to not sponsor you in your car, which is a shame because I think it's a very beautiful car. It's a very beautiful livery, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if I hope Haas loses all of their sponsorships because of this because being tied to that monster, it's just that's what it goes through. And I hope if Nikita Mazepin's father does buy the team, I hope it becomes a failure. I don't see. Yeah, I don't
Hey,
know.
I mean, the
I'm so
guy's being a
speechless.
whiny little bitch at for Racing Point because he didn't get the bid to be their owner.
Right. Yeah,
So, we'll talk about being a sore loser.
and yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, the FIA will step in for anything else, except for this one. I mean, come on, like it. This is where I feel like you know the NBA and the NFL do a really good job at that. When one of their players or when one of their players or one of their representatives does something that absolutely ruins the reputation of the NFL or the NBA. Now, of course, there's a lot of stuff that I don't agree with the NFL or the NBA in disciplining their athletes, but come on, like this is a layup right here. The FIA should have stepped in and said, "No, we're revoking your super license points, and in order to get them back, you're gonna have to build yourself up again and race through that." Like, and you said it, Wes. Money speaks. I wish that wasn't the case in our sport, but yeah, I really hope that we don't get to see any of the Mazepin family take over any car, any team. Um, but yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and I do. You brought up some good points, Joy. Not every company doubles down. Some
mm,
companies and organizations do actually take action and do the right thing.
right,
So I don't want to go out there and be that cynical of everyone or every operation. So I do want to reclarify that some do right, but in its case, FIA, Haas, whomever involved in this incident
right,
or issue was really, really wrong.
right,
So
absolutely,
that's the point I was really trying to make there. And, it still doesn't change anything. I'm still pretty
right,
unhappy.
right, and you brought it up, Wes. There's some really good drivers that could have taken his spot. I mean, Fittipaldi is right there, right? I mean, of course, he's not gonna be that talent that you're looking for in your team, but he's there for a reason. He's a reserve driver for a reason. Callum Ilott, I would love to see Callum Ilott in a Formula One car against Mick Schumacher. Yeah, pretty much. But of course, we spoke about this. We thought that it was going to be a very good possibility that Callum Ilott is going to get signed by Haas, and that way, Ferrari pretty much has control of two seats in Haas. But yeah, yeah, it is very yeah. It is not a good time. It's not a good day for a sport. When they reaffirmed that Mazepin gonna be back. I really hope that I really hope that a lot of the other drivers don't really give him that much any room. I hope that they don't really give you know they don't really give a shit about Mazepin. I would have preferred if Magnussen kept his seat. I think Magnussen is a much better driver. I think he's actually underrated. So yeah.
Well, Lord have mercy, I guess.
Yeah, but we will see. We'll see, right? The future of Haas is at balance. And yeah, hopefully Mick, just spanks him in the in the season. But yeah, so yeah, let's move on, Wes. Sainz, pretty much 1 week after finishing the season in Abu Dhabi, he, went to Maranello and did seat fitting for Ferrari, which was very surprising for me. I mean, Sainz always struck me as a guy that never stops. He's a very hard worker. You could tell even from Drive to Survive, he will pretty much start when everyone is on their day off, and so this is a good sign. I think Sainz can really influence the morale of that Ferrari team. Um, and pretty much, yeah. I love seeing Sainz just go to Maranello the first week after the season stopped, and I'm super excited to see Sainz in Ferrari.
Yeah, no, seeing photos of that seat fit as well as the photos that he took with Charles Leclerc and Mattia Binotto, molto bella, very nice. And you and me are on record being not too keen of Ferrari,
Right.
but I think for Carlos Sainz is a good addition to their culture, good addition to their lineup.
Right.
Can challenge Charles. Not that Vettel couldn't, but of course it gives them a stopgap to give Schumacher or whoever else time. But at the same time, it gives them the opportunity to compete right away,
Right.
especially with Mattia Binotto hyping up that engine for the SF21.
Right. Absolutely. And yeah, I'm excited. Hopefully, I mean, you hit it right on the head, Wes. We don't really see, we don't really like Ferrari, but we do respect them. And it was weird seeing them at the back of the grid this year. So yeah, hopefully, I do like to see the red cars fighting at the top, fighting for wins. Um, Hopefully, if it does, I mean, now that I actually like both of the drivers, maybe I'll soften up my stance on Ferrari. And like I said, I've always loved the Tifosi. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the SF21. I'm excited for 2021. But yeah, they also announced that they're gonna unveil the car at preseason testing. So yeah, it's gonna be a long wait. They're probably gonna be the very last car that they're gonna reveal in the grid.
Oh, that's really interesting. Because we're so used to the opera singing, the Ferrari branded suits,
The
the
the ballet
long,
dancers.
yeah, the ballet dancers, the long talks about why this car is going to be great
Right.
and why it's going to do so well this season. And of course, they're going to answer any questions about how it's going to try and open a can of whoop ass on Red Bull and Mercedes. And they look like they're going to have an answer. That has yet to be seen.
Right.
But
I think last year they revealed it at February, which most teams actually do reveal their cars in February, but them revealing it at March, is it worrying? I don't know, but we'll see. But yeah, I do remember the car launch for Ferrari where there's so many dancers and there's so many opera. I think it's beautiful. It's very Italian, but I mean, all that for P8 in the championship, right?
well, let's just say for the most part,
P6,
it wasn't very good.
P6. Yeah, they were
It
actually
wasn't
P6.
very good.
It wasn't very good.
But nah, I mean, let's see. If they do get back into that top three conversation. Are they going to say when they show up? Are they going to go arrivederci or arrivederci? We got to see.
Arrivederci.
Arrivederci. We got to see. But speaking of arrivederci, you got to get around that first.
Absolutely.
Especially with number 3 and number 4.
Yep. Absolutely. With Mercedes engines, I'm super excited for McLaren this year. Super excited, guys. I don't know.
Joy, are we going to trip Major Nutsack?
Is that another podium? Okay. Cool. Any more thoughts, Wes?
On this, no, but I do wish Carlos the best of luck at Ferrari.
All right. Cool. And there you have it, Running Back Nation. Thank you so much for tuning in today.
Merry Christmas.
To watch us. Merry Christmas. Again, don't forget to join our conversation. Pretty much just go comment on any of the subject or any of the topics that we covered today. But yeah, thank you so much, Running Back Nation.
One more thing, Joy.
Absolutely,
yes,
go ahead.
To Running Back, I want to speak to Running Back Nation. For those on Running Back Nation that are our frontline healthcare workers, thank you so much for your work, especially on this holiday. You all are the real MVPs. You all are the real world champions here. And for those who also like to talk about two warriors duking it out in a squared circle, come check out the No Decision podcast with myself, Wes, and Joy.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. Merry Christmas and happy.
Keep it on track.
Keep it on track.